Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And this is your Royal Daily News for September 21st, 2022. In Brussels, His Majesty King Philippe of the Belgians received credentials from newly appointed ambassadors to Belgium held at the Palais Royal. The new ambassadors are the ambassador from the Republic of Mali, the ambassador from the Republic of Uruguay, the ambassador from Malta, and the ambassador from the Republic of Chile. The Letters of Credentials is an official document in which a foreign head of state informs the sovereign that he or she has just appointed the new ambassador as the official representative of his or her country in Belgium. Receiving the Letters of Credentials officiates his or her entry into office in beautiful Belgium. Meanwhile, Her Majesty Queen Mathilde of the Belgians, as an advocate for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, sent a video message last evening to participants attending the Education Transformation Summit in New York City. Her Majesty stressed the importance of education as a means of fostering socio-economic mobility and escaping poverty. Secretary General Antonio Guterres convened this summit in the framework of the 77th session of the General Assembly of the United Nations. The Education Transformation Summit highlighted the, quote, global efforts to catch up with the pandemic-related learning delay, adapt education to the digital world of tomorrow, and make quality education accessible to all, end quote. In Bettembourg, His Royal Highness Hereditary Grand Duke Guillaume of Luxembourg, accompanied by representatives of the Chamber of Trades, visited the headquarters of the company Delli Zotti, S.A. Meanwhile, their Royal Highnesses Grand Duke Henri and Grand Duchess Maria Teresa of Luxembourg spent the day at the park with their three grandchildren, His Royal Highness Prince Charles of Luxembourg, Princess Amalia, and Prince Guillaume. In Amsterdam, His Majesty King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands attended the presentation of the Royal Award for Modern Painting held at the Royal Palace. According to a press release, the Royal Award for Modern Painting was established by King Willem III in 1871 as a royal subsidy for free painting. After King Willem III, the royal prize was awarded by successive heads of state, and King Willem-Alexander has continued this tradition since 2013. The prize is intended to encourage young, talented painters in their work as artists. In addition to the prestige of the award, the three winners will each receive 9,000 euros. The winners of the Royal Award for Modern Painting are Mr. Kenneth Idu, Ms. Eva Sperenberg, and Ms. Irie Zambel. Congratulations. In Madrid, His Majesty King Felipe VI of Spain held an audience with Spanish tennis player and winner of the 2022 U.S. Open, Mr. Carlos Alcaraz, held at Palacio de la Zarzuela. His Majesty also met with other Spanish tennis players, including Mr. Martín de la Puente. Thereafter, His Majesty the King held an audience with the Board of Directors of the Spanish Association for Quality, a private non-profit entity established in 1961. The purpose of the SAQ is to, quote, promote quality as the engine of competitiveness and sustainability, end quote. Meanwhile, in New York City, Her Majesty Queen Letizia of Spain participated in a meeting with Spanish researchers in the fight against cancer as part of the celebration of World Cancer Research Day. Upon her arrival, Her Majesty was warmly welcomed by the president of the AECC and its scientific foundation, Mr. Ramon Reyes, the General Secretary of the Cervantes Institute, Ms. Carmen Noguero, the director of the Cardiovascular Institute and physician-in-chief of Mount Sinai Hospital, Mr. Valentin Furster, and the director of the Cervantes Institute in New York, Mr. Richard Bueno. During the meeting, discussions focused on the need to support Spanish researchers who carry out their work outside of Spain, as well as, quote, supporting global research and highlighting the advantages of international cooperation. All of this will reduce the time needed to bring results closer to patients, improve the national cancer science and medicine ecosystem, and reinforce Spain's image as a benchmark in cancer innovation and research, end quote. In the afternoon, Her Majesty and the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden, attended a meeting ahead of World Cancer Research Day on September 24th held at Columbia University's Irving Medical Center. According to a press release, the meeting focused on the importance of cancer research and global cooperation in the efforts to end cancer. Last evening, Her Majesty Queen Letizia of Spain participated in an event organized by UNICEF and the World Health Organization within the framework of the High-Level Week of the 77th United Nations General Assembly and the Secretary-General's Summit for the Transformation of Education. At the United Nations headquarters, His Serene Highness Prince Albert II of Monaco, accompanied by a Monegasque delegation, attended the opening session of the 77th United Nations General Assembly. Over the next several days, Prince Albert II and his delegation, which includes the Monegasque Minister of Foreign Affairs, Miss Isabel Barrow, will meet with several heads of state and attend various bilateral meetings. Meanwhile, Her Majesty Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, in her capacity as the United Nations Special Advocate for Inclusive Finance for Development, participated in a meeting with her, quote, reference group of financial inclusion advisors. The group is comprised of leading international organizations in financial inclusion, which share their expertise and suggest strategic opportunities that Her Majesty can help advance through advocacy and partnerships. In Midtown, Her Majesty Queen Rania of Jordan participated in the 2022 Concordia Summit held at the Sheraton New York Times Square Hotel. This morning, Her Majesty participated in the discussion entitled Repairing and Restoring, the Need for International Cooperation and Trust Building. Back at the UN headquarters, His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan and His Royal Highness Crown Prince Al Hussein bin Abdullah II of Jordan held a meeting with the Prime Minister of Greece, Kyriakos Mitsotakis. Discussions focused on expanding bilateral cooperation and building on joint agreements, with an emphasis on the importance of continuing the, quote, trilateral cooperation between Jordan, Greece, and Cyprus, end quote. In Central Park at 6:30 a.m., His Royal Highness Crown Prince Frederik of Denmark began his second full day in New York City with a morning run with members of the United Nations Ambassadors Running Club as a prelude to the launch reception for Denmark's candidacy for the United Nations Security Council in 2025 through 2026. Later in the morning, at a, reasonable hour, Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Mary of Denmark participated in the WWF Worldwide Fund for Nature and Ellen MacArthur Foundation conference entitled Global Plastics Treaty Business Coalition, held at the Scandinavia House. The conference discussed various issues including mobilizing the business community to eliminate plastic pollution and microplastics on land and at sea. In the afternoon, the Crown Princess participated in a meeting with the Executive Director of the United Nations Population Fund, Dr. Natalie Kahneman. During the meeting, discussions focused on the UNFPA's strategic plan for 2022 through 2025 and the 30th anniversary of the International Conference on Population and Development in 2024. In Copenhagen, the Danish Royal Court announced that Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II of Denmark has tested positive for COVID-19 last evening. Currently, Her Majesty is resting and in isolation at Fredensborg Slot. The gala dinner to be held on Friday at Christiansborg Slot for the Danish government, Parliament, and Danish members of the European Parliament will be carried out with their Royal Highnesses Crown Prince Frederik and Crown Princess Mary of Denmark serving as hosts. Also in Copenhagen, Her Royal Highness Princess Benedikte of Denmark, as patron of the Alzheimer's Association, attended the presentation of the Alzheimer's Association Research Prize to basic science researcher Mr. Olaf Michael Andersen and clinical researcher Mr. Thomas Rune Nielsen. And finally, last evening in Monte Carlo, Her Royal Highness Princess Caroline of Hanover, Princess of Monaco, attended a cocktail reception hosted by the Board of Directors of the Union of Monegasque Women to witness the signing agreement of the Energy Transition Pact. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow on Thursday, September 22nd with all the latest royal news. Until then, I wish you all a wonderful evening and a great day tomorrow. And also, I would like to apologize, again, for the background noise. Where I live 10 months out of the year, it's called green season. Hay mucha lluvia. If you know what that means, you know what that means. It rains cats and dogs. It's beautiful here, but the weather can be very unpredictable. So, I apologize for the noise. Anyway, with that being said, again, enjoy your evening, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.